Welcome, everyone. I'm excited to kick off our presentation today on Ghusl. This is brought to you by Continuous Learning Development. Today, we'll explore the significance, procedures, and importance of Ghusl. We'll cover its religious, spiritual, and practical aspects to give you a comprehensive understanding. Let's get started. Now, let's take a closer look at the obligatory acts of Ghusl, which are essential to ensure the purification is complete and valid. The first obligation is gargling, known as madmadha, which helps cleanse the mouth and throat. Following that, we need to take water into the nostrils, a process called istinshak, to purify the nasal passages. Next, it's necessary to wash the entire body thoroughly, making sure every part is cleansed. An important part of Ghusl is performing wudu for prayer, but notably, this wudu does not include washing the feet at this stage. After these steps, one should pour water 3 times over the head and then over the entire body to ensure complete purification. Finally, after completing this, one should move away from the place of Ghusl and wash the feet, which is also a vital part of the process. These acts serve as the foundation of Ghusl in the Hanafi school, and understanding these steps helps us connect the act of purification to our overall spiritual cleanliness and readiness for prayer. Let's start with the first key point, which is removing the purity. This step is essential to ensure that the impurity does not spread when water is poured during Ghusl. Think of it as cleaning away any impurities before the full washing begins. Next, regarding women, they do not need to undo their braids, provided that the water reaches the roots of their hair. This is a practical point that makes the process easier without compromising the validity of the Ghusl. For men, however, it is necessary to wet the beard. The reason is simple. There's no hardship in wetting the beard, and it is important to ensure that the water reaches all areas of impurity, including the beard. Overall, these steps highlight the importance of thoroughness in Ghusl, ensuring purity is achieved effectively while accommodating different needs. This aligns with the broader theme of understanding the correct method to purify oneself properly. Let's go through the key points of the acts of Ghusl, starting with what is mandatory. First, it is essential to cover the entire body with water. This ensures that every part is purified according to Islamic teachings. Next, the intention, or niyyah, must be made before starting the Ghusl. It's a vital step that signifies your purpose to purify oneself for worship. Another mandatory act is maintaining lack of interruption during the Ghusl. This means you should perform the washing continuously without significant breaks, ensuring the water reaches all parts thoroughly. Rubbing the body is also important, as it helps to remove impurities and ensures water touches all areas. Lastly, making water penetrate the hair, whether it is thick or plaited, is a mandatory step. No matter how thick the hair is, the water must reach the scalp. Now, moving to the recommended acts, these are not compulsory but highly encouraged for a more complete Ghusl. First, wash the hands up to the wrists initially. This is a simple but important step to begin the purification process. Rinsing the mouth is also recommended, which helps maintain oral cleanliness. Sniffing water up the nose and blowing water out afterwards help purify the nasal passages, which are part of the natural cleansing process. Wiping the ear holes is another recommended act. The method involves taking water in the hands and tilting the head so that water reaches inside the ears. It's important to note that we do not pour water directly into the ears to avoid harm, but rather wipe and gently wash the accessible parts. All these acts, both mandatory and recommended, come together to ensure that the Ghusl is performed properly, fulfilling the spiritual and physical purification requirements. They also connect to the overall theme of cleanliness and thoroughness in our worship. Let's take a closer look at some of the meritorious acts of Ghusl and the acts that are disliked. Starting with the meritorious acts, one important point is to begin with the basmala, saying Bismillah before starting Ghusl. This simple act adds barakah and intention to our purification. Another key act is to start by removing filth from the body, which shows respect for the act of purification and ensures cleanliness from the outset. It's also recommended to wash all the limbs of wudu before doing Ghusl, as this emphasizes thoroughness and completeness in purification. When starting the ghusl, it's preferable to begin with the upper body before moving to the lower parts, maintaining a logical and respectful sequence. Additionally, beginning with the right side before the left is a practice rooted in the sunnah, reflecting care and order in our actions. Washing the head 3 times is another recommended practice, symbolizing thoroughness and attention to detail. Lastly, using a small amount of water when performing a complete ghusl is considered meritorious, highlighting efficiency and humility in our acts of worship. Now, turning to the disliked acts, revering the order of actions during ghusl is discouraged because it breaks the proper sequence and can diminish the spiritual benefit. Pouring excessive water is also disliked, as it is wasteful and unnecessary. Repeating the washing after completing it fully is not preferred, since it can be redundant and counterproductive to the spirit of ease and moderation. Performing ghusl in the lavatory or a dirty place is inappropriate, as it compromises the cleanliness and dignity of the act. Purifying oneself while showing private parts openly is also disliked, because modesty and privacy are essential in maintaining the dignity of personal purification. Understanding these points helps us align our actions with the sunnah and maintain the spiritual and physical integrity of ghusl. These guidelines serve to elevate the act from mere physical cleaning to a meaningful act of worship. In the name of Allah, most merciful and compassionate. First, we begin by removing any unclean matter from the body, ensuring that we are in a pure state. Next, we perform ablution, or wudu, just as we do before prayer, to purify ourselves physically and spiritually. Then, we pour water over the head 3 times, with the intention of lifting a state of major ritual impurity, such as janaba or menstruation, or simply to be prepared to pray. While doing this, it is important to run the fingers through the hair to ensure it is fully saturated. And remember, having a clear intention is mandatory for the validity of the ghusl. After that, we pour water over the right side of the body 3 times, making sure water reaches all joints and folds, and we gently rub ourselves to clean thoroughly. We repeat the same process on the left side, pouring water 3 times and ensuring complete coverage. Now, if a woman is bathing after menstruation, she may use some musk to eliminate any lingering scent of blood. This is done by applying musk to a piece of cotton and inserting it into the vagina after bathing, as far as is obligatory, to ensure cleanliness. It's important to note that the goal here is to remove traces of filth, and using soap or other cleaning substances is perfectly acceptable. Overall, these steps help us achieve both physical purity and spiritual readiness for worship. Today, I want to highlight 2 essential requirements for the validity of the purificatory bath, or ghusl. First, when you first apply water, usually at step 4, you must have the intention that the water is meant to purify the parts that need washing. Second, it's crucial that the water reaches all of the hair and skin. This includes the roots of the hair, under the nails, and the visible parts of the ear canals. Unlike in ablution, the order in which you wash these parts isn't strictly important. For men, this also includes washing under the foreskin if uncircumcised. And for women, it involves the private parts that are normally exposed when she squats to relieve herself. It's also considered more cautious, or sunnah, to rinse your mouth and nostrils thoroughly. This is highly recommended for Muslims, even though it's not obligatory. Now, if there's any filth or najasa on the body, you need to wash it off by pouring water directly on those areas. The good news is, performing the bath once is enough to both remove the impurity and complete the purification. Finally, for women who have to perform ghusl both after major impurity, like janaba, and after menstruation, a single bath with the correct intention can suffice for both. Similarly, if someone performs one bath intending to lift major impurity or to fulfill the sunnah of the Friday prayer, it counts for both. However, if the intention is only for one purpose, then the bath will only be valid for that specific intention. Let's now look at the key acts involved in ghusl, starting with the mandatory ones. First, it's essential to have the correct intention, or niyyah, because without it, the ghusl isn't valid. Next, you need to wash the entire body thoroughly, making sure no part is left dry, as this completes the obligatory purification. Additionally, rinsing the mouth and nostrils is a vital step, symbolizing the cleansing of the inner parts as well. On the recommended side, there are a few extra acts that enhance the ghusl but are not strictly required. For instance, saying Bismillah before starting is encouraged, as it brings barakah to the act. Rubbing the body with the hand during washing is also recommended, as it helps ensure that the water reaches every part of the skin. Lastly, when it comes to hair, it's not mandatory to unbraid the hair for ghusl, though it is safer and more thorough if you do so. This helps to ensure that water reaches the scalp and all hair strands, which is especially important for those with braided or thick hair. Understanding these points helps us perform ghusl correctly, fulfilling both the mandatory and recommended acts, and maintaining the spiritual purity required in our faith. Now, let's look at what Maymuna reported about the Prophet, peace be upon him, performing a major ablution, or ghusl, to remove major ritual impurity. She described how he began by washing his hands thoroughly. Then, he poured water onto his private parts with his right hand to cleanse and remove any impurities. After that, he struck his hand against the wall and the floor to shake off any dirt or impurities. Next, he performed the usual wudu for prayer, which involves washing the hands, mouth, nose, face, arms, head, and feet. Finally, he poured water over his body to complete the ghusl, making sure to wash all parts thoroughly, including a slight movement to ensure cleanliness. This narration highlights the detailed steps of the Prophet's way of purification, which is essential in Islamic practice. It reminds us of the importance of thoroughness and mindfulness during purification, connecting to the broader theme of maintaining spiritual and physical cleanliness in our faith. Now, let's go over the key points of Bukhari's description of ghusl, which provides a step-by-step guide for performing this important act of purification. First, he mentions washing hands 2 or 3 times, emphasizing cleanliness from the start. Then, washing the private parts with the left hand 3 times, which is essential for purity. After that, he describes rubbing the hands together and rinsing the mouth, highlighting the importance of oral cleanliness. Next, he talks about taking water into the nose and blowing it out, which helps cleanse the nasal passages. Washing the face comes next, making sure every part is thoroughly rinsed. Following that, he mentions washing both forearms, including the elbows, ensuring that the water reaches all areas. Then, he describes pouring water over the head 3 times, pouring 3 handfuls of water, which is a key step in purifying the scalp and hair. After the head, he explains pouring water over the entire body 3 times, starting with the right side and then the left, to ensure complete cleanliness. Finally, he notes withdrawing from the washing place and washing the feet, completing the full ghusl process. This step-by-step guide reflects the importance of thoroughness and mindfulness in purification, connecting to our overall theme of maintaining spiritual and physical cleanliness through proper practices.